Welcome to Log Furniture How To, the most all-inclusive site on the net for log and rustic furniture, fixtures, and decor. That's logfurnitureHowTo.com.
So we're headed over into the Mountain Shadows neighborhood this morning to get an inside, behind-the-scenes tour at the Flying W Ranch. Take a look at some of the devastation caused by the Waldo Canyon Fire. You can see how the fire just swept right down that little draw. We'll be turning here on Chuckwagon Road, headed up to the Flying W. Now this is a special tour that's been organized by a volunteer group that's been doing a lot of rehab work up here. So it looks like they're going to start letting us in here in a minute. All right, so here we are at the Flying W Ranch this morning, and we're getting ready to start this private guided tour of some of the devastation of the Waldo Canyon Fire. Let's take a look around over here real quick. We've got a pretty good crowd gathering, and this little tour should start here pretty soon.
Thank you everybody for coming this morning. We really appreciate you turning out. This is a sold-out event, and it is a collaboration between three organizations who have been doing some of this burn and restoration work in the Waldo Canyon area. And I'm Nancy Wilson from Mile High Youth Corps here in Colorado Springs, and the other collaborating agencies, and they'll introduce themselves in just a second, are the Coalition for the Upper South Platte, CUSP, fondly known as, and the Rocky Mountain Field Institute, also known as RIMFI. You know, a lot of us thought the fire was over when the fire was contained, and still others of us thought the fire was over when the flames were gone. But most of us know the fire really isn't over. The flames are out, but we've got lots and lots of years of work ahead of us. And we can hope for light rain like this. But if we have more, and you're going to hear more about that today. Call your attention to these railroad tracks. These tracks were all uncovered before the fire. And that's just a little bit of an example of the sediment flow that Leon and others have been talking about. How it creeps down. The expression I've heard, and I wanted to ask Leon about this, but is that a 10-year water event, just a 10-year gully washer up here on the burn scar, will be a 100-year flood down here. That's what we've always... Serious situation.
How many of you have been to the Flying W before? Raise your hand. Fantastic. It's great to see old friends and meet new ones. As most of you know, Flying W Ranch was established in 1953. This year would have been our 60th anniversary. And it actually was, right up until that fire decided to wipe us out on June 26, 2012. But as we look forward into the future, you know, there's a lot of different things that we have to put into perspective. 1,800 acres of the Flying W Ranch burned. And we're looking at now having to mitigate as well as seed and lay mulch on all of that.
So this is the main side of the old Flying W Ranch. And you can see the fire did some crazy things. This is one of the buildings that was left after all the other devastation. You'll see here as we cross over the little bridge, this is another part of the old historic Flying W Ranch. The old teepee.
So my name is Eric Billmeyer. I'm an instructor at the University of Colorado in Colorado Springs in the Geography and Environmental Studies Department. I've also worked with the Rocky Mountain Field Institute since 2003, implementing restoration projects in watersheds both on Pikes Peak and in the Hayman Burn area. And so that's what I want to talk to you guys about today is restoration of watersheds and how important it is to prevent the type of debris flows, mud flows, and sediment flows that they're expecting to occur from the Waldo fire that we've seen in the Hayman fire. What I like about what we're doing with Waldo is we're being very proactive instead of, usually we're a reactive society, right? But we're being very proactive to go out and address some of the issues now that we saw that can just kind of get out of hand in the Hayman if we don't.
We installed over 300 erosion control structures in the trail. We're going to try to preserve that trail so we can get the general public out there to see what's happened. But that trail itself is in danger of going away if we don't put the erosion control structures in there first and make sure that
Well, as you can see, the work's just begun out here. Be sure to check out one of these fine sponsors to volunteer some of your time. So we want to thank our friends at Mile High Youth Court, Coalition for the Upper South Platte, and the Rocky Mountain Field Institute for having us out here today.
That's a little bit about Mile High. Like I said, if you know young people who are looking for a great summer job, or fall job, that is what just go to milehighyouthcorps.org, all spelled out, and click on Youth Jobs, and they fill out the application online. They'll be posted starting in February.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little behind-the-scenes tour of the Flying W Ranch. Come back and see me again next week. This has been Mitchell Dillman with LogFurnitureHowTo.com. We'll see you next week.